Alexa, desk lamp on. There you go.
It's a trading at 111.
Right.
Right, hold on to get Facebook sorted out.
This is the thing about that. There hasn't been. Hi, Chris. There hasn't been that much change in the exchange markets between the pound, the dollar, and euro.
Right, listen, save it for the show, David. What people get on board while I sort out Facebook.
It's just Chris.
Hi, Chris. Facebook's getting busy. We've got Lorraine King, Stephen Kelly, Lorna McDonald, Sandra Wallace, Ian McNeil, Alan Forsyth, Alex Adams, and BJ Williams. And back to Restream, and we've got Stuart and Chris only on YouTube at the moment.
Yeah.
So people a wee minute to get on board. There's, I think, comes Eddie and D-Doc and Last Braveheart. Yeah. So give a wee minute to get on board, and then we'll get into it. Today's subjects, folks, the Supreme Court case, Bank of England to end bailout of pension funds, Truss's car crash, first Prime Minister's questions, and the UK national debt. So, we've got 50 on board. We'll get a wee minute before we get into it.
Okay. No worries. As long as you guys don't mind waiting, just a wee bit. It's always better when we've got a good crowd on, because we get some really, really nice, interesting comments coming up.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Brian. Hi, Ellie. Right, that's 75 on board, David. So let's get this underway.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's.
The Supreme Court case for India F2 has been getting its hearing yesterday and today. So the question's going to be, what's the Scottish Government's case, what's the UK Government's case, and what the IRAs and the audience on Facebook and YouTube think the outcome will be.
I think that anybody looking at it from that point of view is missing the wood for the trees, right? This is my own personal opinion, and I don't hold David to this. He's maybe got a different way of looking at it, right? But the way I look at it is that, for a start, number one, the UK Supreme Court shouldn't be looking at this. They don't have the competence to hear a case such as this. This should be held by an international court to actually decide if the people of Scotland have got the right to ask themselves a bloody question, which is stupid in the first place, right? As far as the UK Supreme Court case is concerned, I'll look at it a different way. I'm looking at it from the point of view of it's an act of pure fucking genius on the part of Nicola Sturgeon, whoever's put the idea together, right? They have forced the UK government into that courtroom to basically strangle themselves, because the harder they work to ensure that we don't get the vote, for the people of Scotland looking in and realising what's going on, they realise their democracy is getting blooming destroyed. So in that case, it's we win. Even if they win the case, they lose. Yeah?
It's a wee bit more basic than that for me, because when you know the intricacies of what they're doing and what they've been doing with the new bills that they've introduced, what they're basically saying is Scotland can't leave because it will damage the UK as a whole. Now, if we look at the security bills that have been introduced, right, and we look at the covert human sources bill, right, Anybody that's a threat to UK economic or national security is an outlaw under these bills. So Scotland want to leave the UK as a threat to the UK and the state's economic security as well as the state security. So they are going to deem that that's illegal.
It's a bit like the American War of Independence, isn't it? Really? Yeah, at that time, the British establishment, when these people are in America doing this, that's an attack on Britain. And therefore, we've got to send another, the army and the navy and all the rest of it to try and sort it out. That's basically where we are. Yeah.
Oh, we're definitely that crossroads,
yeah. Whether they're stupid enough to do anything on a military basis, I don't think so.
No, really we've already discussed this. Because of the social contract between the peoples of these islands, there's just no way that John from Manchester's going up to shoot Davy from Glasgow's Auntie May.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not going to happen. And when John from Manchester gets up here, Granny from Shettleston's going to grab him by the lug and say, "Come here, you get a wee shite, put a gun in the corner, sit down, here's a bit of biscuit and a fucking cup of tea." So the idea that there'd be some sort of military attack in Scotland is absolutely woundballs. But the analogy is right. You know, we are where we are. The Supreme Court, I would agree, they don't have the competence for this.
That's right. And in actual fact, because of that, don't forget these, let's call them learned justices in the Supreme Court. I think they know that. And I think your reading of the situation is very right, David, because you're saying that what they're going to do is, well, really, it's a political thing rather than a legal thing, and therefore what we'll do is we just bow out of it.
I think that's what they will take a couple of months to consider it. They'll have a look at all the legal mumbo jumbo and go, that's what they did in 2012.
Yeah.
When we had the Scots Court, the English High Court look at this.
There is another facet of this that everybody seems to be missing. I don't know why, right? Why the Supreme Court? Well, if you look at what happened just when Boris closed the House of Commons illegally, unlawfully, and what court did Joanna Cherry take issue with him? It was the Scottish Court of Sessions.
Yep, it was interesting. Remember, there was an English delegation there as well, and the Scottish Court of Sessions.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like you think to yourself, why the Supreme Court? Why not? Because it's a Scottish issue, it should be heard in the Court of Sessions. So why the Supreme? I think this has been very, very much
in the Supreme Court because Dorothy Bain decided that the Scottish Court of Session wasn't capable of making the ruling.
But now
the Scottish Court of Session would have to rule on the side of Scotland. And then it would be kicked up the road to the Supreme Court. So we was well just bypassing the middleman. But what we do know about the Scottish Court of Session was when Martin Keating's brought a case recently, they ruled that the whole situation was hypothetical because the bill hadn't been passed for an independence referendum. And that's the UK government's argument right now.
Thrown out. Yeah.
They're petitioning for it to be thrown out. But I mean, the UK government's argument is that Scotland departing the UK would be of economic and risk England's economic security and England's defence.
Is it possible that Martin Keating's case, which was heard in the Scottish Court, in the Court of Session, right?
Yep.
That is maybe something that made them go the Supreme Court route rather than the Scottish Court of Sessions.
Even if we'd been to the Scottish Court of Sessions, then Westminster would have taken it to the Supreme Court anyway.
Yeah.
I was going straight to the highest court. You're right, they don't have the competence to deal with us.
Yeah.
Should the bill have been published, passed through the Scottish Parliament first? Well, if it had been passed through the Scottish Parliament first, and Dorothy Bain had signed it, it would have been down to that court written in Scots law. And all they'd been able to do is decide whether it was written competently in Scots law or not. So actually, maybe it was a boo-boo note to put the bill through first, but we'll wait and see.
But if you imagine what I'm doing is I'm trying to take the helicopter view of the whole thing, rather than looking at it just as a wee argument as to whether the people of Scotland should be able to ask themselves a question. Looking at it from a different direction, you're starting to see that maybe there's a bit of strategy involved here from the Scottish Government. And it's actually pushing Westminster to nail their colours to the mast and show what they're really about, and cutting out the people in Scotland from their democracy, right? By arguing that no, it's nothing to do with you lot. You people in Scotland, shut up, and that's it. You're not getting your referendum. End of, right? So the harder they push, the worse it is for them in the eyes of the people of Scotland.
They know that, they know the game's a bogey.
Aye.
They're just trying to delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
Nicola Sturgeon was right in her speech. This is the independence generation.
Yeah.
We are going to get the keys to the house and give it to our children.
Yeah.
And then get out the road and let them decorate, because we made an arse of building the last system. Just to emphasise that fact, you bunch of old codgers, you just build the same thing out again. Let the kids build something new.
I've got faith in the kids coming through. Seriously, I really,
because they're more compassionate, they have more care for the environment, they have their eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
So, us old duffers that got us into this condition in the first place, best step aside and let the kids do it. We'll just give them guidance.
That's right.
But the Supreme Court thing, they say, I don't see it going anywhere. I think the judges will walk away. But the UK submission is that it's hypothetical, and their other submission is that the Constitution is reserved. They don't tell us which Constitution. That's the bit that's annoying.
It shows the contract.
Shows the contract. Well, the Scottish people, through its legislators and through its legal system, has a constitution. A written one, a codified one.
Without being antagonistic to anybody, right? I've been watching today the steady drip of people that are writing about things about the Dorothy Baines and all the rest of it, right? And it's these people should not be commenting on individual things. I mean, I've seen one from Craig Murray, and it's pretty damning. It really is when you read it. But in actual fact, when you look at it, you go, why bother at this time? Why not wait until there's a bit more clarity before sticking your size 14 in? Yeah. So all I'm prepared to do at the moment is just look at it and go, these buggers of the Supreme Court don't have the competence to make a decision. And we're both agreed on the fact that they'll just drop it. They'll do it in the nicest, floweriest language you can possibly find, and just go, thanks but no thanks.
Jane Daly didn't think England / UK had a constitution. It doesn't. What it has is conventions and gentlemen's agreements, and it's laid down in the House of Commons as standing orders.
Yeah.
So that's all there is. There isn't a constitution in England. There is a constitution here in Scotland. It's been codified down through the years in our legal system. And that's been grown forever. Sarah Sawyers explained this. I mean, going back to the Act of Salvo and coming forward to the first time the claim of rights went through, the Scottish courts right up until modern day claim of rights. So they have a codified, semi-codified, or sort of codified constitution here.
Yeah.
And we know that because we've watched King Chuck have to sign our claim of right, and he was fecking raging having to do it because the constitutional arrangements for the monarch in Scotland are different from the constitutional arrangements for the monarch in England. In England, the monarch is a supreme ruler. In Scotland, the people are sovereign, and the monarch is a selected head of state. Hence, the passage that says in the Declaration of Oath, if the monarch doesn't succumb, it doesn't suit the people have the right to replace that monarch. Simple as that. It's all code, it's in law.
When he was saying that oath, and I watched him say that oath, he was ready to bloody spit when he was actually talking about the.
Oh, he was raging.
Yeah,
he was raging. But we've seen that in the 20th anniversary of the Scottish Parliament when wee Patrick Harvey got up and slapped the Queen right across the kisser when they said to her, "The sovereign people of Scotland welcome you, ma'am."
Yeah.
You know, that was putting the constitutional position here on right down their throats. Now the Queen, she took it because, to be honest with you, Lizzie liked coming to Scotland. She could be more a normal person here. I mean, you and I are no royalists, you and I are both Republicans, but that's one thing we do know is that Lizzie loved it here because she could be treated like an ordinary citizen. Because everybody was sovereign.
She went into the village near where Balmoral is, right? The people knew her just as one of the locals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was fine, that was good.
That's because everybody's sovereign. She was quite good with that. So when Patrick said it wasn't her that was raging, it was Charlie.
Yeah.
You know, she just had a wee wry smile on her face.
What was it?
Anyway, that more or less covers the Supreme Court. So
yeah, we'll move on.
Yeah, move on. Right. Right, bank bailout of pension markets to end Friday. As we know, the Bank of England's made a couple, I spoke about it earlier, the Bank of England's made a couple of interventions into the gilts market to prop it up so that the pensions schemes of all of us don't go down the Swanee. Now, as you know, David, this is of great concern to me.
I know.
I'm only something like
I'm letting you push this one.
Okay, I'm only 4 or 5 weeks away. I'm only 4 or 5 weeks away from drawing my pension. And to be honest, I'm petrified that it's not going to be there now. I've been ploughing money into that since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I've turned 55 in 4 weeks' time or something like that. You know, and I could be facing financial ruin here.
Yeah.
Financial ruin.
And the basis of that pension that you got, you did a job for the army that was considered to be one of the most dangerous jobs.
No, that's not what the pension was for, David. I got the pension through a good officer we had in the army whose father was a city financer and came in and arranged pensions for us all, private pensions.
Right.
Most of the soldiers ditched them off when they decided they wanted to drink that £10 a month it was at the time, £10 a week it was at the time. But me, I kept paying it.
Yeah.
Paid it faithfully for 36 years. Even joined the SIP system, which took over for the Super Ann system with the government.
Uh-huh.
And I've got money sitting with them and all. Right? And of course, the SSP2 rolled that into your private pension. So I could be going to lose that as well.
Yeah.
So I've been paying what used to be known as superannuated tax all my life.
Right. Let me ask a few questions of you, so that people here, in case they're not aware, why is it the gilts are anything to do with that?
Why are gilt? Because that's what they invest in. They invest in government debt, and then they get a guaranteed interest rate, supposedly, or whatever length of time the gilts are issued for. So if the gilts are issued for 1 year, then the interest rate's less. If it's issued for 10 years, the interest rate's more. If it's issued for 30 years, the interest rate's more. So the pension companies speculate in these markets to give them a guaranteed income to be able to service the pensions, the customers they have for pensions.
I remember looking.
They take the money that they're taking from me and they invest in government debt.
Yeah, I remember looking at the gilts market over the past, I think it was 20 years, and we saw it as a line that just gently nudged its way up year on year on year. And then all of a sudden it fell off the edge.
I can see John's and he says state pensions are no risk. We're not talking about state pensions, John.
No, it's not.
And by the way, you're right. Liz Truss has been talking about scrapping them actually because they're too expensive. That's why the Tories, Labour, I think it was Labour, introduced the workplace pension, so that you're all flying into private pensions. They'd be able to pull away the safety net of the state pension, and of course, it would take a couple of generations to do that. But by that time, you know, people are invested in the other thing. And as the state pensions, I say that they are thinking about doing away with state pension. And it's the very same thing when it comes to the NHS being privatised in that road. You know, the
okay, it was over the past few days, we've seen that there's been relatively little movement in the exchange rate between the US dollar, the euro, and the pound, right?
Yep.
So, what's going on? Well, what has been going on is that the Bank of England have been buying up these gilts as quick as they can. They've been buying what effectively is UK debt, right?
By UK debt.
So even though you might look at the exchange rate each day and say, oh, it's still at 111 or whatever, right? And yeah, well, nothing to see here. In actual fact, it's what's going on the background that is really the interesting point. And we'll discuss that in a wee bit in a minute.
When we get into Prime Minister's questions, we're going to get into that.
Let's have a wee look at the UK national debt as it is on the website at the moment. Now, this website hasn't been updated in quite a long time, so it's basically it's a. Yeah, take it with a pinch of salt, but at the same time, it should be much higher than that in actual fact.
Let's have a look at the UK national debt right now.
Yeah.
Shall we? Now, I don't know if you guys can see it, so I'll read it to you. The UK national debt grows at a rate of £5,170 pounds per second. And I did the calculation, so it's gone up by 7.5 million a day. The UK national debt. UK national debt now stands at a 2.741. 2,741,122,700 pounds per second.
Yeah, however, at the bottom, which is rather important in itself, it says the UK debt has surpassed 1 trillion. That says to me and David that this is now out of date. It's well out of date, right?
Actually, as the cloak up there says it's past 2 trillion. But let's look at what that means per person in the UK. That means that the UK government has saddled everybody or mortgaged every single man, woman, and child in the UK to the sum of £44,026. But as not everybody's a taxpayer, children don't pay tax. That means debt per taxpayer by the UK government. The UK government has mortgaged each taxpayer to the tune of £75,724. That's the debt per taxpayer.
Right. Okay. even though there now is no longer a bucket where our national insurance goes in to pay for our pensions, right? There still has to be a bucket to do it. Practically, you look at it as a practical thing, you've still got to do it. There's still got to be a wee account, doesn't matter what you call it, right, where that money is sitting there that they can actually pay to the pensioners each week, right? Now then, if you start to factor in all the liabilities, including state and public sector pensions, the real national debt, at the time that this was written, which we figure was around about 2012, is close up to 4.8 trillion. Now, it's at 4.8 trillion. I've actually seen figures that are higher than that, but I'm prepared just to take this. But this was written at the time when the UK national debt surpassed 1 trillion.
And we 2.7. So right. If the combined debts at that time was 4.8, with 1 trillion in debt, you've got to gather it's going to be double that, haven't you?
Yes, that's right.
So we're looking at the UK's debt being about 10 trillion.
Correct. Right.
Wow.
Now, exactly, wow. If it was a straightforward business and you were a director of that business, you would be breaking the law if you didn't wind up a business in that state straight away, because you've got a fiduciary duty to all the people that buy from you and invoice you and all the rest of it, right, to actually run the business in a proper way. And a business running that far off the edge isn't a business.
Actually, John's saying that we don't 1/10 of that debt. No, we don't, John. read the Treaty of Union. We're only liable for the debt as long as we're in the Union. That's why Westminster, at the last referendum, admitted the debt.
David, you're wasting time.
I'm not wasting time. I'm just no, it was a fair comment. It needed to be explained. It has to be explained. He obviously hasn't read the Treaty of Union. You know, so we'll set that aside. But it doesn't really matter, John. We being responsible people would help with that debt. Of course we would.
The UK is broken and beyond economic.
Let's get back to the point you made there about companies and directors being made to shut a business like that down. Well, it's interesting because the UK is a PLC. Why don't we just give £1 to the tax man and tell them the game's a bogey and start again? It's a public limited company.
But the problem is that you end up still with the same management.
Yep.
And what they would do is would be up to 600, 700 billion within a few weeks, if that was the case, right? And what was I going to say about the directors? A director found to be in that situation and not do something positive about it, like shutting the company down, would become personally liable for the debts of the firm.
Aye.
Yeah. So I figure what we do is we just go, it's the bloody Tories. Yeah. But build the Labour numpkins a wee bit, you know, fine. They deserve to take a wee bit of it. But Tories, aye, 600, 700 billion, something like that.
800 billion, but that's beside the point. What did they spend it on? They spend on getting big corporations so they didn't have to pay a decent wage. So the taxpayer subsidised the lowest paid in the society instead of the government legislating for companies to pay more. It's absolute economic idiocy.
It was pork pie and beers. That's what it was.
Absolute idiocy. I mean, the education system did not much feeling. Seriously feeling. Right, let's move on. We've done 15 minutes on this subject, you know, so let's move on.
I know.
Let's move on to Truss's car crash. First outing at Prime Minister's questions today. Obviously, I'll do a bit of this in the morning.
What you have to understand, David, hang on. What you have to understand is, he saw this. I didn't. I've been running about doing other things a day, right? And when he read out to me what it was that she'd actually said in the comments, I went to what? Right? So go ahead and put it up, David, if you can. Have you got it there on your?
No, I can't put it up, David. You know I'm technically illiterate. I will read what it is I put up. But just give me a wee minute to find it.
I can't get it down. I can get to it quickly.
Right, you give me it quickly because you get better bandwidth than I've got.
Yeah. Come on, David. There we go. That is there. Come on. Right. There it is there. There it is, right there. Right, okay. If you bring it on now, I should be able to just...
I don't know be able to read it, yeah. David.
It's okay, it's too small, isn't it? I'll read it out for you.
Right, read it out.
Okay, hang on. When it comes up. There we are.
Okay, you're buffering out a bit slow, David.
I know. Well, don't forget this comms upgrade that I'm getting. I'll have me running at like 200 mile an hour. So there we are. Right. Okay. David says our PMQs is a disaster. Are all questions. She says, we've only doubled your energy bills. Think yourselves lucky. We could have done nothing. So we are lucky she's given big energy companies money to charge us less.
Good money to charge us less.
Yeah. Is it me or has the world gone mad? She could have just capped the bills, no cost to public purse. Now, your analogy that you put up was actually quite good. What did you just buy?
David, hold on, that was James O'Brien.
Was it James O'Brien? Okay.
I just read. I just tell you what he said. Now, Now, to let people understand, anybody that watched Prime Minister's Questions Today, right? For every question she was asked, but we moved on energy costs. We moved on energy costs. Let me explain to those who might not understand what it was she did on energy costs. She borrowed 150 billion quid against our names and handed it out to big energy giants who were already making huge profits in order to charge us less for our energy. When all she really had to do was cap the energy price. They were already on double profits as it was. So they had enough to buy in and cover their costs of generating electricity at £2,500 a year. So she didn't have to borrow 150 billion of our money and give it to them to cap energy prices, to cap energy prices at double what they were last October.
But
so the analogy that James O'Brien put out was, let's say you and I, David, are in a relationship and I come home to you and say, look, I've just bought a Ferrari. And you go, a Ferrari? How the feck are we going to pay for a Ferrari? And I say, don't worry, I've bought a Porsche now. And the reason why that analogy is true is because she's borrowed 150 billion to cover the cap on the energy prices, and then she's borrowed another 43 billion to give tax cuts to the rich. So basically, she stuck 200 billion worth on our credit card and tell us, don't worry about it.
We also discussed previously they had another option that they could have done as the UK government. What they could have done was they could have said, right, okay, we're cancelling all your licenses, boys. Come to the table and we'll discuss it. And what we want you, when they get on the table, what you say is, what we want you to do is, well, make sure you fill the UK bucket first and you're going to supply it at this price.
David, because when Blackford got up, this was hilarious. Blackford got up and explained to her that because of her kamikaze economics, mortgages had risen by 400. Fixed price mortgages went up by £450 per month on the average £200,000 home.
Yeah.
Right. And what she said was, we've capped your energy bill. So Blackford's pointing out that people are going to be £450 a month worse off. Right. So there's £5,000. And she's saying, but we stopped your energy bill if we're going to £6,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the question is, David, the question is, why won't the Tories do it?
Why won't they do what?
Why won't they cap the energy bills or do the thing with it?
Because back in the 80s when these utilities were selling, as you and I know, none of us had any bloody money. The only people who could buy these utilities was the bloody Tories. And have we seen it with the post office? They sold it straight to their pals. And then their pals sold it on again, made billions within 48 hours.
Yeah, also if you consider the Tories have got a pretty good feeling in their waters that tells them they're going to get booted in 2024 or January 2025, they hang on for then, at the next election, let's say. And that being the case, so many of them are looking at the big energy giants as being their future employers,
yes,
i.e. directors of the board, right?
Yeah,
and that's the reason why they will not attack those big energy companies in any way, shape or form, because they'll think, well, if they do, on behalf of the people of the UK, they'll end up where they'll get told, sling your hook.
Anyway, Blackford went on to say, look, people are no longer worried about heating their houses, they're worried about losing their houses, and they'll come back and that was Scotland should help with UK energy security by building nuclear and pumping more gas. Talk about, we're on a green drive here to get green energy. Nuclear's no green, and pumping gas is just destroying the bloody atmosphere. In fact, the two holes in the Nord Stream 1 and the one hole in Nord Stream 2 is pumping that much methane out. It's more than the output of the whole of bloody Norway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's dreadful.
The planet's, we're 8 years away from ecosystems breaking down, and this bam pot wants to burn more fossil fuels. Frack England. The water course is already full of shite.
Somebody should be running a big hose to that bit of the Nord Stream 2 and actually do it up with the gas.
Jesus.
Oh, it's the UK government. We'd like the longest fucking garden hose you've got.
But talk about, I mean, you've got to watch PMQs a day. Honestly, car crash doesn't get.
Oh, well, definitely will.
Wolf. I mean, we thought Bojo was bad.
Yeah.
But this is absolute lunacy. You can see in her eyes, actually, she's mad as a hatter.
Well,
I mean, the lights are on, but nobody's
I really honestly think that the reason why she's in that position, and they'll try and keep her in that position, is because she is malleable. She isn't intelligent whatsoever,
right.
And they can actually lead her down the garden path without her realising.
Yep, they can steal billions for the public purse, and she won't even know she's doing it. I mean, it's the same as this carry on with the energy companies. Let's give 150 million quid to keep the price down at £2,500 per average usage, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
So, absolute nuts, madness. I mean, but as I say, I've always thought that the breaking up the UK will be England's route out of debt, because as a PLC, they'll on the Treasury a pound and say, we're going to start again.
Here's the keys.
Here's the keys.
The UK, the Bank of England and the Treasury will both go, isn't that something to do with houses? You post the keys through the letterbox. Well, that's what we're doing.
Oh, that's the latest wacky idea. Don't get me on to the latest wacky idea. The idea that they're going to deregulate planning for housing developments. And if you want to put an extension on your house, go ahead. You don't need planning permission for that.
Yeah.
And you don't need to meet any economic, environmental standards either. Just go ahead. Absolute madness. But I'll put this one up because this is absolutely true and it was hilarious. The Haunted Pencil said more oil, gas and fracking good for the environment. And the Haunted Pencil did say that, and unbelievable.
He got. I think he got interviewed this morning by Nick Ferrari on LBC, and Nick Ferrari, he's a born again blooming Tory to begin with, so it was a nice soft interview that Jacob Rees-Mogg had, and he was allowed to spout all these fucking nonsense as per usual, I don't know what to do, guys. It's like we'll do a Jacobite, Jacobite McLaughlin, Davey. What do you think?
No, definitely not. We're not doing a Jacobite McLaughlin. Fuck's sake, that wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now thinking about it.
It's funny now, aye, but it wasn't funny at the time. I had to splatter the other rags for Christ's sake.
He was just to keep it.
The League of Scotland Scots advocates killing Englishmen.
He drank a couple of bottles of whiskey one night, and he lived in New York, right? And he drank a couple of bottles of whiskey one night, and he put up a post on the League of Very Sovereign Scots that says, "I'm calling it all together. We're producing an army, and we're going to head south and head to Downing Street." We sent reporters on the next day and all sorts.
No.
We had to write a bloody retraction and all the rest of it, because we just were looking for it at the time,
Aye, Peter Bell wrote it for us.
Aye, that's right.
Maybe he was dealing with the press at the time for us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Mental. Absolutely mental. Surprised we didn't end up in court with that one. Jacobite McLaughlin, New York State, pissed out his face, bang, there a post. Next thing the local rags are all heard is a nasty nationalist.
God rest the poor guy's dead now.
God rest his soul, Colin.
God rest his soul,
He's a good guy, Colin.
He was a good guy.
He didn't drink very often because of the cancer. I think something was just got him down, and he went mental.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, actually, he just lost another limb. I think it was. He got to the hospital. He cut another leg off because of his cancer.
Says Truss is a Manchurian Candidate. If you've ever seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate, that's quite up.
I don't think that would be the right place for me, but I'll put this up anyway. David McGuinness, please become an independent at Holyrood. Stand in the next election as an independent. I don't think anybody would vote for me, mate, to be honest with you. And you don't really want me doing a dinger in the Parliament.
David's right. Everybody will hold their breath.
With funds like Murdo and that would be likely to take the Claymore, and I'd be a Jacobite McLaughlin. No, I think I'll pass on politics if you don't mind. I'll stick to being a commentator.
Totally the wrong. We are the right people to hold the politicians to account, because we are straight talking and we'll tell them what we think of them, right? And that goes with, it goes for any party whatsoever, especially after independence. We are going to become a thorn in the side of that place. Right.
Well, apparently I should be standing for the SNP. Well, I am a member.
Aye.
I did consider running as a councillor once, but when I realised they only get paid £16,000 a year, I went, nah, I couldn't take that big a pay drop. But no, I don't think the Holyrood debating chamber is the right place for me. They're not quite enough for me. When I'm in debate, I'm very, very diplomatic when I'm in an actual debate. I know you guys will find that hard to believe, but David can verify that. Back 2012 to 2014, I was considered to be one of the most moderate debaters in the debate.
He was the one that brought in the no swearing rule.
Can you believe that? No, but I'm in an actual debating chamber, folks. I am much more reasonable than what I am when I'm doing my commentary. The dragon says that's not true.
Pity we can't hold a journalist account, especially the BBC bar stewards.
No, that's an arena I would like to get into, but the BBC will not talk to us.
Yeah.
In fact, Dave and I are barred for cold case. When they see your phone number, they just don't answer.
That's the noise it makes when we instead of going ring, 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 and the person in the call centre goes, hello there, BBC. It's like ours, it goes, the big X going.
We have not accepted your calls.
Sorry, guys. We're having a laugh here. It's bad when everything is so shitty at the moment. It really is. Well, I tell you what. You find us some secret funding, right? And we'll form you a think tank. You might not like what we say, or sorry, the Tories might not like what we say, but there you go. We could be a think tank. What do you think, Dave?
I'll form a think tank, David. Then you might. See, that's not a bad idea. We do have a lot of people around about us that we're pretty good in the think tank. And of course, we do have independent think tanks like the Commonweal, with Robert McAlpine and that. So there is think tanks out there on the side of the independence debates. Another one. I'm a bit busy as it is.
What's that? Yeah.
I have to meet up with a think tank once a month to shoot shit around a coffee table. I just don't think I'll get the time for it.
Yeah.
But back to trust and trustonomics and the first Prime Minister's question today. It was hilarious, and that is the analogy. I didn't just buy a Ferrari, I bought a Porsche to go with it.
Yeah.
How are we going to pay for it? Okay,
the thing that gets me is how. Surely the people of England see that, right? How are they looking at that?
I don't know.
Just that one thing, we only doubled your energy bills. Think yourselves lucky. We could have done nothing. Wow. What I think you say at the ballot, the dispatch box in the House of Commons. Wow.
Well, that's what it translated to, aye.
Yeah.
We've only doubled your electricity bills, and we're getting £150 billion of your money to the people who doubled it for you. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
I mean, you think about that. What she had to do was, you've doubled your profits in a year. You're obviously making enough. We're capping it there. No cost.
Julie's put up rather a nice wee comment. Can you put up Julie Gagan, please?
Hey, let's see if we can find it. So,
No,
okay,
I'm not going to get into my usual rant over councils. I'm not. I'm not. Don't worry about that, right? However, I do have a wish to actually shake up the whole of the councils right the way throughout Scotland and actually bring them under a central control, thereby getting rid of the chief executive and also all of the councillors. And now, councillors might go, what? You know, however, the good councillors, the idea is to bring them on as, what's the word? Yeah, in other words, they become the people that actually bring the resource to their area, right? So if there's holes in roads, whatever, it's not a case of us contacting the council and saying, oh, there's a hole in this road here, right? The councillor will actually have the job of going round and actually doing once a week all of their area, even if they need help to do it, right? And picking up on all of the locations where the roads are faulty and street lighting and a bloody fence that needs a coat of paint, all that sort of thing, right? That's the system they have in New Zealand, and it works, and it works really well.
Yep, right. They're called aldermen instead of councillors, I believe.
That's it.
The difference between Scottish and English as far as political awareness must be vast. It is. The one thing that the 2012 to 2014 run into referendum did was it woke a lot of people up and had them sit up, pay attention to what was going on.
The one thing I wrote about today was I said that anybody looking at Scotland and England and asking if Scotland was an independent, a separate country operating under a treaty as we are at the moment, right? They would have to say yes. But also, if they look further, they would have to say these two countries are going in different directions.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you look at it and you think, you know, the economy of Scotland is, in actual fact, with a great big anchor on the back of us and all the rest of it, right? We're still doing better. Kwasi Kwarteng the other day there brought out a stupid statement about how badly Scotland was doing compared to the GDP of England. That's a load of nonsense.
I want to address this one. Mr. E started the co-op with the funeral plan yesterday. I use an electric wheelchair, electric hoist, electric hospital bed, have two autistic boys, and to my blessing and loving beautiful wife, I'm scared. I'm sorry, Mr. E, you should be scared.
Yeah, that's fuck's sake, man. Yeah. Wow.
You should be scared.
It's when I read things like that, it catches me in my fucking.
You know, because I've been watching the persecution of the disabled and the poorest.
Hey guys, you want to see private messages that I get, David gets? It's like a wee woman that are just frightened of what's around the fucking corner. The moment it turns really cold, they're in trouble. You know, and oh shit, I don't want to. No, let's keep this. But we've had a good laugh on this one, and I don't want to kill it. You know.
Hold on, this is one of many problems. All this economic upheaval and interest hikes means higher borrowing costs for Westminster. Westminster block grant pocket money cut coming. Yes, definitely there'll be cuts to the Scottish budget. They're going to cut. They're going to cut by 18 billion apparently, and the next fiscal year. I imagine that 1.8 billion will come off the top of the Scottish budget, but the Scottish Parliament's already made us aware that the budget was cut by 5% this year and will be progressively cut by 2% going forward over the life of the Parliament. And they mean the Scottish Parliament, not the Westminster Parliament, so even if there's a change of the guard down that road, it's still going to be cut going forward.
Can I just answer Robert at the top here, Robert Bruce? He's on about the setting up a podcast, not a TV channel. There is a TV channel that's sitting there doing bugger all at the moment, which is ITV, the AYE TV.
Aye. Yeah.
And basically all it's on is like really, really old videos from Gordon Ross. God bless Gordon for doing it, but it could be put to far better use. And I really do think that for the government, the Scottish government, to have that and actually run everything through it, it would be really useful. Yeah.
Chris, over 300,000 uncalled for deaths from 2012 to 2019. The English people don't know that. The press is not telling them.
I know. Exactly.
Although it went out in the rags up here, it didn't make it into the rags in England.
Yeah.
I can assure you, because I've studied the press daily. So the people down there don't know that they've lost 300,000 relatives to austerity over that 7-year period. That's what I was talking about today when I was talking about George Osborne's slow kill. And now we're looking at 2.0, austerity 2.0 on stilts. And that's the reason why Osborne put to seed above the parapet and tell her, don't dare. The people of England will notice they're dying off quicker.
Yeah.
And that your policies are doing it.
Yeah.
So Osborne knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's why we say that Ian Duncan Smith and Osborne get blood in their hands.
Is Osborne still the editor of the London Evening News?
He is now, yes. Yeah. But he left politics today, becoming an editor.
And isn't the London Evening News owned by the Lord of Siberia? What's his name again?
Aye.
Wow. What a cabal, eh? What a fucking cabal, honestly.
Cabal, yep.
See that thing they talk about the Formula One drivers? They've got women badges all over them for their sponsors. That's what the politicians and what the newspaper editors and all the rest of it should have to wear on a day-by-day basis. By law, they have to wear it. They show every single one of their sponsors, right? People like Jacob Rees-Mogg would have to buy 2 bloody coats so you got the badges on. What are you looking at? You checking out another?
I'm just having a look at Phil McCracken's comment.
Yeah,
he got his pensioner neighbour an electric throw the other day. She was over the moon and in tears for a simple wee thing. That was good of you. Whether she can afford to plug it, I don't know. Phil's a different matter.
Yeah.
You know, don't want to be too gloomy. I spend enough time crying into my coffee at night when I'm reading hot stuff in the wee hours.
It's not as if we're balling the place down. We're not, right? But it catches you in your throat. It catches you right there. When you
when I read the Glasgow Centre for Population Health support on the 330,000 preventable or unnecessary deaths due to austerity 1.0. I mean, I poured through that report and I was in bloody tears.
The problem with
it, take that number, 330,000, 20,000 in Scotland, 6,000 in Wales, 4,000 in Northern Ireland, 300,000 in England. Yeah. When you think about the amount of people who died unnecessarily.
It's like somebody saying, "Oh, I've just seen a UFO." First thing you do, fuck away and fuck yourself. Don't be stupid, right? Okay. It's that sort of headline. See if you put that. See even if they put that front page in one of the main newspapers, the Express or whatever, right? The people would just look by and go, whatever. You know what I mean? Seriously, that's the way it is.
It's AA rated, Phil, so it's just the same as running a light bulb. That's great. That's great news.
Yeah.
I know Dross claimed $250,000 on expenses. Brilliant. Yeah. I wonder what he spent it on. But apparently he's worried about his mortgage. If I was him, I would be, because he's set to lose 2 seats. Dearie. So David, you've got to watch Trust Today. It was a sight to behold.
Oh, I definitely will.
You can tell them, you can absolutely tell them nothing between their ears. Nothing.
And how has this happened? Well, it's happened because there are 160,000 Tory members that were given the opportunity to vote in the person that they wanted, right? And they weren't going to give the position to a black man.
Brown man. Get it right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like a man of colour, right?
A man of colour.
And that is the Tory racist badge.
Yes. Now, this one here, by Erwin, that shows just how much Scottish Government have mitigated and managed to prevent some deaths. It does, because it was less than our population share. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But that's what we mean with the reason why we need independence, because mitigation's not enough.
Yeah.
And we have a trust in the Tories boasting about how they're going to pay for all this shit off the back of Scotland. Oil, gas and renewables. A windfall tax on renewables. That means there's less people investing in the sector, which will affect their economy.
Sorry, David, even just one wee thing. The bedroom tax, that still exists. That's still a thing.
Aye.
And the Scottish Government are having the blooming cover for that.
50 million quid a year, right? But ain't money going back to them. Well, taxed twice, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
It's absolutely nuts. So it is.
Somebody could be disabled, and what they've got is they've got a house where they've got a spare room, and they use that to put the wheelchair into and all the other stuff that goes with that, right? And yet that bedroom tax is still applied. No, that's fucking nasty. That's fucking nasty. Excuse the French, right?
It's weirdly Iran.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go up the news time, so I don't really want to get my blood pressure up.
Yeah.
Any deaths from poverty in the 21st century is a disgrace. You're absolutely correct, Margaret.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Margaret. Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
There's enough food, enough money, enough resources, and all the rest of it in our country to actually support everybody that's in here. In actual fact, we could increase our population to 10 million. We would still have well and truly enough to actually support all
David, their target should be to get our population up to about 25 million. It's what our landmass can hold. There's a lot of fertile valleys out there with rivers run through them, where settlements could be built and where settlements used to be.
Yeah.
That need to be resettled. The land needs to be used much more productively.
Yep.
And our resources better managed when we bring them back under our control.
All right. Yeah.
But what we have seen is that they're betting England's house on Scotland's resources.
Yeah.
And this idea of growth. Well, David and I have explained this over and over again, and there's people out there better qualified than us to explain this. You cannot have growth if your population doesn't have disposable income, because if your population doesn't have disposable income, then your economy is into contraction. And that report out the other day that I reported on by the Nighttime Industry, which said 7 out of 10 pubs could be closed by Christmas, as an example. People don't have money to go to the pub. The people who work in the pub get laid off, and the guy that owns a pub goes belly up unless he's made enough with it to be able to just shut the doors and walk away. So,
because one thing's certain, being a pub landlord is not something that somebody would take or would go, well, hang on, what's the electricity bill for this thing? What's the gas bill to keep it warm, all the rest of it, right? And oh hell, it's like if the people got money to actually come in and buy pints, drinks, and all the rest of it. Well, maybe in a few months' time that's not going to be the case. So therefore, the guy that was the publican that owned the pub, he'd be as well just closing the door. No way.
Well, let's put it this way: when the energy price cap for businesses ends in 6 months' time, that's what a lot of them are going to do anyway. Yeah. But there's a good point here with DJ. The DJ is asking with growth, who they're going to sell to. That's the other side of the coin, DJ. They have no international partners of any note that actually want to trade with the UK. This idea that outside the EU, Little England was going to be buccaneers and build Empire 2.0, but a trading empire this time instead of a physical empire, was always pie in the sky.
Yeah.
Because the only big rich economies, apart from Europe, are on the other side of the bloody planet. And that means it's no cost effective for them to buy for us, and it's not really that cost effective for us to get to them either, unless we undercut ourselves. And that's what they did with the New Zealand and Australian trade deals.
I'm going to make one retort to Liz Truss, who did our keynote speech at the Conservative conference, where she went, growth, growth, growth. My retort to her is, crazy, crazy, crazy.
Aye. Right, well, that's the hour up.
Yep.
Indian trade deal has stalled because of Suella Braverman, who is the new Home Secretary, because she doesn't fancy the freedom of movement involved in it for young executives up to the age of 35. Because when there's a billionaire population, there's a lot of young executives up to the age of 35 who would have the freedom to move to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So Suella Braverman has put the boot on that. Hey, well, Tatty's grown an independent Scotland, no, Lenny. Did they not tell you we're running out of water, mate? So tell that to me when I get piss wet through taking the dugger walk this morning. You know. But hey, right, we're at the end of our hour, David. We're a wee bit there. We could go on for a while.
I could easily, because the great thing is, these people that come on and watch us, they're brilliant, and they actually put up some decent stuff that you can respond to, and it's brilliant, especially that one old Tactics growing an independent Scotland.
But even John for London made some valid points today, even though I didn't ignore a few points that he made. He was being civilised. He was actually. He didn't understand the treaty union things like that. There's nothing wrong with responding to some of his stuff, because some of it is reasonable and some of it's just stupid.
We'll jump the motor, we'll drive to London, we'll go and we'll find his bus, right? We'll go, right, shut the doors, we're going to talk to you for like 3.5 fucking hours.
We'll ask him what his day off is and we'll try and make it in for a pint. At the local Tory club.
Make sure you bring Loopy Link and was a Kamikaze Kid. All right, that's it. Bring me
in. Listen, viewing figures have been absolutely fantastic today, folks. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification button, and you'll get notified when we go live. If you're on Facebook and if you're on YouTube, if you like what it is we do and you think it's worth a wider audience, then share it across your social media platforms, including Twitter and WhatsApp and Snapchat, whatever the hell's out there.
I'll get just one wee bit of information. On Sunday, I believe, I set up the Two Davies Facebook group. Right now, at the moment, we're trying to build a membership. We're up to about 1,700 members at the moment.
Before we go, we're going to have to do this one.
Right, go on.
Ken Daly's just jumped in. Did our Lord Advocate just get a slam dunk? One judge asked if what she was saying was true. A Section 30 wasn't needed in 2014. She said, yes, that's the point. I'm summarising. Well, we already knew that Section 30 wasn't necessary, and as I say, at the time there was a lot of opposition to the fact that Mr. Salmond was signing that Section 30 because it was setting a precedent that Westminster had that position. There was a bit of backlash in the party at the time for people who were in the party at the time.
I remember going on to David Mundell's webpage. And in it was the arguments between all the legal eagles arguing whether we really needed the Section 30. This was for 2014.
That's right, I remember that.
And it was really interesting reading all that. And in actual fact, you were left thinking, well, no, we didn't require a Section 30. It wasn't required at all, right? However, sorry, let me just finish what I was saying about the Two Davies Facebook group. We're trying to build it at the moment. If you haven't been invited, I apologise. I've been working night and day.
Brian Cunningham has put out over 1,600 invites to your new page, David.
Right.
Sorry, your new page. And you put it after the fact, folks.
So we need to push more on the invites, if you wouldn't mind. All right. What happens is the moment you Facebook see me trying to invite people, I get a few in, and then it goes, sorry, this isn't working anymore. So they're trying to stop me from doing anything on Facebook, right? But the actual the Facebook group in itself, it's a good place, a logical progression for us. We've got the YouTube, we've got David's hashtag, and we've got now one place where we can put everything into a pot for Facebook. All right. So give us a hand if you can, please. And that leaves me with one thing to say is bye, Davey.
Mind, folks, if you like what we do and think we should have a wider audience, share it around. Bye, David. Bye, audience.
Bye, audience.